If you got behind the wheel this morning thinking the same rules still apply, you need to stop and watch this right now. Right here in the United States, driving laws have quietly shifted in 2026, and most people have absolutely no idea. We're not talking about minor tweaks. We're talking about changes that can drain hundreds, even thousands of dollars right out of your pocket. Here's what's real. The grace periods for hands-free phone laws are officially gone. Police can now pull you over for holding your phone, period. No other violation needed. Speed cameras are multiplying around school zones and work zones, and here's the part that stings. If a camera catches a violation on your car, the ticket goes straight to the registered owner. That means you, even if someone else was driving. On top of that, several states have tightened their driver's license point systems, meaning smaller mistakes now add up faster and can trigger a suspension sooner than ever before. And your car insurance? One distracted driving ticket in 2026 could raise your premium significantly because insurers are now pulling violation data more aggressively than they ever have before. Every single one of these 5 rules is already in effect. Stay right here, because knowing this today could save you a lot of money tomorrow. So let's get right into it, starting with rule number 1. And this one is the one that is already catching people completely off guard all across the country. We are talking about the hands-free phone law. And before you say, I already know about that one, hear me out, because what's changed in 2026 is not the law itself. It's the enforcement, and that difference is enormous. For years, most states had what's called secondary enforcement, which basically meant a police officer could only pull you over for using your phone if they had already stopped you for something else first. That grace period is now over. As of 2026, the vast majority of states have made this a primary enforcement law. That means an officer can pull you over for one reason and one reason only, because they saw you holding your phone. No other violation needed. And here's the part that really gets people. It doesn't matter if the phone is at a red light, if you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, or if you just picked it up for 2 seconds to check the time. If you are holding that phone while you are behind the wheel, you are breaking the law, period. Fines vary by state, but we're seeing first offense tickets ranging from $150 to over $400 in several states, and those fines stack up if it happens again. The smart move here is simple. Set up your phone with Bluetooth in your car before you ever start driving, or put it in the glove box where you can't even be tempted. This rule alone is generating more traffic stops in early 2026 than almost any other violation, and most people being pulled over are genuinely shocked because they didn't know the rules had changed. Now, let's move into rule number 2. Because this one involves something sitting outside your neighborhood right now that you may not even realize is watching you. Traffic cameras, specifically speed cameras and red light cameras, have expanded dramatically across the United States heading into 2026, and the locations where they are placing these cameras are no longer just major intersections in big cities. They are now showing up heavily in school zones, work zones, residential areas, and stretches of highway that are known for speeding. States like Illinois, Michigan, Indiana, and several others in the Midwest have specifically expanded work zone camera enforcement, meaning if you're driving through a construction zone and you're going even a little bit over the posted limit, there's a very real chance a camera is recording your license plate and a ticket is being mailed to your house. And here is the part of this rule that people find truly unfair until they understand it. In 2026, if a camera catches a violation on your vehicle, the ticket goes to whoever owns the car, not necessarily whoever was driving it. That means if your adult child borrowed your car last week and drove through a speed camera 10 miles over the limit, you are the one getting that ticket in the mail. Now, some states do allow you to contest this by identifying the actual driver, but in many jurisdictions the process is tedious and the fine still has to be paid while the dispute is being processed. The best way to protect yourself is to simply stay aware of camera zones in your area and drive accordingly. And if you do lend your car to someone, make sure they know these rules too. Rule number 3 is about speed itself, and this goes beyond cameras. Something significant shifted in 2026 in how states classify extreme speeding, and the consequences are far more serious than most people realize. For decades, going 20 or 25 miles over the speed limit would get you a hefty fine and maybe some points on your license. That was painful, but manageable. In 2026, multiple states have reclassified certain levels of excessive speeding as criminal reckless driving rather than just a traffic violation. We're talking about situations where you're going 20 to 50 miles per hour over the posted limit. In some states, that's no longer just a ticket. That can now mean a court appearance, a criminal record, license suspension, and fines that can reach up to $1,500 or more. States in the West, including Arizona, Nevada, and New Mexico, have significantly increased penalties for high-speed violations on major corridors, and they are enforcing this aggressively. What's also worth understanding here is that aggressive driving behaviors that were once treated as minor are now getting the same treatment. Street racing, extreme tailgating, brake-checking other drivers, and dangerous lane weaving. All of these are now facing zero-tolerance enforcement in more states than ever before. The mindset among lawmakers has shifted. They looked at the traffic death statistics from the past several years, saw the numbers were not going down, and decided that larger consequences were the only way to change driver behavior. Whether you agree with that approach or not, the law is the law, and it is in effect right now. Let's talk about rule number 4, and this one directly affects your wallet in a way that keeps building over time rather than hitting you all at once. Several states have overhauled their driver's license point systems in 2026, and the changes are not in your favor. In the past, the point system was relatively forgiving for minor violations. You'd get a small number of points for a modest speeding ticket, and you'd have to accumulate quite a few violations before your license was in any real danger. That has changed. States are now assigning more points per violation, and the threshold for triggering a mandatory license review or suspension has been lowered in many places. This means that a couple of tickets that might have been completely manageable 3 years ago could now actually put you in jeopardy of losing your driving privileges. And what makes this even more important to understand is that these point changes don't just affect your license. They feed directly into what your car insurance company sees when they pull your driving record. Insurance companies in 2026 are using state driving data more aggressively than they ever have before to reassess risk profiles. So if your point count goes up even slightly because of the new thresholds, your insurance company may see you as a higher risk driver and raise your premium at your next renewal, sometimes without any additional warning. People are opening their insurance renewal statements this year and seeing increases they don't understand. And in many cases, it's because a violation from several months ago is now carrying more points than it would have under the old system. Staying clean on the road is always important, but in 2026, it carries real financial weight in a way it simply didn't before. Rule number 5 may be the one that surprises people the most, especially those who have been driving for decades and feel confident they know all the rules. This is about the move-over law, and specifically about how it has been expanded and strengthened in 2026. You may already know that move-over laws require you to slow down and change lanes when you see police, ambulances, or fire trucks stopped on the side of the road with lights flashing. That law has been on the books in all 50 states for years. But in 2026, several states have significantly expanded who and what that law applies to. In Minnesota and several other states, the move-over requirement now includes any vehicle that has hazard lights flashing, not just emergency vehicles. That means if someone is broken down on the shoulder with their flashers on, you are now legally required to move over or slow down significantly when passing them. And the fines for violating this law have gone up considerably. Some states are now issuing fines starting at $250 for a first offense, going up to $500 or more for repeat violations. The reasoning behind this expansion makes complete sense when you think about it. Tow truck drivers, roadside assistance workers, and everyday people dealing with a flat tire are being struck and killed on America's shoulders every single year. And lawmakers are trying to use the law to force drivers to pay attention. But regardless of whether the expansion feels new or unfair, it is now the law in growing number of states, and not knowing about it is not a defense when you're standing in front of a judge or writing a check for a fine. Now, here's something that ties all 5 of these rules together in a way that is really important to understand as we wrap up the body of this discussion. All of these changes are happening at the same time that insurance companies are watching more closely than ever. Your driving record in 2026 is more visible, more digital, and more connected to your premium than it has been at any point in history. Whether you are in California, Texas, or New York, Your driving record is now more visible to insurers than ever before. What that means practically is that a single bad day on the road, one distracted driving ticket, one camera violation in a work zone, one excessive speeding stop, can now trigger a ripple effect that costs you hundreds of extra dollars every year in insurance premiums going forward. Insurance companies are no longer just looking at major incidents like DUIs or at-fault accidents. They are pulling the full picture, and the full picture in 2026 includes all of these new violations with all of these new point values attached to them. If your policy comes up for renewal and you've had even a minor violation under the new rules, don't be surprised if the number on that renewal notice is noticeably higher than what you paid last year. The bottom line on all of this is that 2026 is genuinely different from previous years when it comes to driving laws. It's not just that one or two states tweaked something minor. What we are seeing is a coordinated, nationwide tightening of traffic enforcement. More cameras, stricter point systems, stronger penalties, expanded laws, and insurance companies plugged directly into all of it. The roads haven't changed. The cars haven't changed all that much. But the rules and the consequences absolutely have, and the people who don't know that are the ones writing the big checks. You now know exactly what's changed and exactly what to watch for, and that puts you ahead of most people who are still driving around like it's 2023.